It's almost funny how fragile we've become. A century ago, people built fires without YouTube tutorials, navigated without GPS, traded without apps. Today, lose Wi-Fi for 30 minutes and half the world starts twitching like someone cut off their oxygen. But this isn't about inconvenience. It's about collapse. Most people imagine a collapse as dramatic. Bombs, mobs, mushroom clouds. But the next one might start quietly, through a cyber attack, a solar flare, a deliberate kill switch, or even just cascading technical failure. No alerts, no countdown, just screens freezing and society following behind them. Which is why prepping for an internet outage isn't optional anymore. It's strategic survival. You need to know how to function, move, communicate, and think without Google holding your hand. This isn't about cutting tech out of your life. It's about having the tools, mindset, and backups in place to stay alive when it fails you. So let's hit the 10 survival tactics almost nobody prepares for, but everyone wishes they had when the cloud goes dark. Stick with me until tip number 5 because that's the one that turns your internet addiction into your biggest survival weapon. Number 1, build your offline brain before the cloud vanishes. If the internet died tonight, how much do you actually know? Not what you can look up, what you can operate from memory, because modern life has turned your phone into a prosthetic brain we outsource everything to. Need a first aid trick? Google it. Don't know how to navigate? Plug into GPS. Forgot the recipe? Pull up YouTube. It's convenient until it isn't. When the Wi-Fi drops for good, most people will discover they've preserved absolutely none of the knowledge required to stay alive without it. This is why you need an offline brain, survival library you own, not one you rent from the cloud. Start by downloading entire sets of critical PDFs, medical guides, trauma reference tables, home remedies, plant identification sheets, mechanical fix walkthroughs, hygiene strategies, off-grid cooking manuals, and simple skill cheat sheets. Don't leave them floating in random browser bookmarks. Save them to an encrypted hard drive, USB key, or better print the most vital ones on paper. Because paper doesn't need a battery when the lights go out. Next, build an offline map cache. Apps like Maps.me or Gaia GPS let you download towns, counties, even entire states for use without data signals. Print your own copies of surrounding regions, alternate routes, water sources, and back roads. Include a compass and basic land navigation notes. Because maps don't just help you travel, they help you understand what's around you for when people begin moving or looting. While you're at it, assemble a physical memory journal. A binder with personal IDs, emergency contacts, medical histories, prescriptions, important numbers, passwords written in code if needed, and a quick reference plan for bug-in or bug-out logistics. When your phone dies entirely, this becomes your command center. Finally, sharpen your mental memory. Practice remembering 10-digit numbers, repeating critical instructions to yourself, and performing tasks without glancing at a screen. Survival demands cognition under pressure. If you've never tried to stitch a wound, start a fire, or build shelter from memory, you'll freeze up when it counts. The bottom line, when the web dies, information disappears. That's not the time to realize you have none of your own. Build your offline brain now. Number 2, create your own shadow communication ring. The internet outage isn't scary because you lose TikTok. It's scary because you lose each other. No texts, no group chats, no emergency alerts, no idea if grandma 2 miles away is alive or stranded. That silence breeds chaos faster than hunger, which is why preppers don't wait for the towers to fall. They build their own dark net, a shadow communication network that functions completely without Wi-Fi or cell service. Start with Bluetooth mesh tools like BridgeFi, Briar, or Meshtastic. These apps let nearby phones create a peer-to-peer network using Bluetooth or local radio frequencies. No internet needed. Texts bounce from device to device, relaying quietly from one unit to another, turning your neighborhood into a living router. Yes, range is limited, but in a blackout, that's sometimes all you need to coordinate with allies, share alerts, or monitor threats traveling street to street. Next comes short-range radio, FRS, or GMRS walkie-talkies. They're cheap, don't require licenses to receive, and create instant voice contact from home to home. Pre-select channels, code phrases, and check-in times before the outage hits, so you're not fumbling for a plan while someone is pounding on your door. For longer range coordination, a basic ham radio setup will let you pick up regional chatter, disaster broadcasts, and crisis intel coming out of neighboring cities. But the real magic happens when you combine all 3 communication layers. mesh for immediate team contact, radios for local defense updates, and shortwave for big-picture situational awareness. That's a communication triangle the average household doesn't even know to dream about. Now keep it quiet. If everyone knows you're still online when the world is dark, you become a target. Encrypt your chats. Hide your antennas behind attic boards. Use earbuds at all times. And when in doubt, revert to old school, handwritten dead drops under shared rocks, mirror flashes, chalk signals on alley posts, or candle codes in windows. Because communication isn't about talking. It's about knowing. Knowing when danger's coming. Knowing where the safe route is. Knowing who still has your back. Number 3, paper maps and primitive navigation. The moment the bars on your phone go gray and your location dot freezes, you begin to realize just how much trust you've put in a system you don't control. Satellites humming in orbit, servers tracking signals, towers whispering your coordinates back and forth. All of it can vanish with a single cyber attack, a solar flare, or a cascade of grid malfunctions. And when that happens, millions of people, even experienced preppers, suddenly won't know which road to take, which bridge still stands, or how far away danger truly is. That's why primitive navigation isn't old-fashioned. It's revolutionary. Because when GPS is dead, those who can still read the earth will command the battlefield of movement. Start now by printing detailed paper maps of your city, your county, and every route between your safe locations, bug-out points, friends, rural hideaways. Don't rely on one map thrown in your glove box. Print redundancies, waterproof one copy. Mark gas stations, water sources, hospitals, alternate back roads, and choke points. Add landmarks others don't think about. Grain silos, power lines, church steeples, long view structures that help you self-orient if street signs disappear or get stripped by looters. Algorithm-based directions die without signal. Human geography doesn't. If you haven't laid a finger on a compass since elementary school, relearn it now. Understand declination. Practice taking bearings. Walk your neighborhood, tracking which direction you're heading by the angle of the sun or where moss tends to grow thicker along certain walls. Next, start moving on foot without digital assistance. This is your rehearsal. Go on urban hikes and test whether you can find your way home without checking your phone. Can you estimate distance by stride count? Identify north at midday by shadow movement? If not, learn. Offline map apps like Gaia or Maps.me are great, but only if you download them before the outage. Once you have, turn off your data and simulate the collapse. Navigate 3 miles through your city using only those saved maps and visual reference points. You'll be stunned at how disoriented you feel the first time and how fast you adapt on the third run. Primitive navigation is not about being romantic or anti-tech. It's about ownership. Ownership of your movement. Ownership of your safety. When the digital grid fails, movement becomes chaos. Highways jam, main routes barricaded, side streets dangerous. But if you've already walked alternate paths, memorized patterns, and trained your brain to see like a scout, you keep mobile while others stay frozen. Number 4, protect the devices that protect you. Most people think of the internet as information, but it's powered by something far more basic: electricity. When the grid sputters, your Wi-Fi goes out first, then your routers, then your modems, your laptops, your phones, and finally your hope that anything modern will turn back on again. But if you've built your own miniature Internet of Power, a private circulation system of renewable juice and device protection, you continue operating in a way that looks almost magical to the rest of the blackout world. Because while everyone else's gadgets are dying in their hands, yours are quietly staying alive. Begin with protection, not generation. Tech is useless if it gets fried before you can even reach for a battery. Invest in Faraday bags or Faraday cages, simple electromagnetic blocking sleeves or containers where you can store a backup phone, USB radios, walkie-talkies, chargers, even small laptops. These shield your gear from solar flares or EMP-type events that could overload circuits without warning. Stash these backups in a metal garbage can lined with cardboard or mylar, and never open it unless you're rotating the gear. Shielding what you already own is the cheapest survival win on this list. Next, build your off-grid charging web. This isn't about owning a massive gas generator which becomes useless without fuel. It's about small, layered systems. A foldable 20 to 60 watt solar panel, a few large capacity USB power banks, think 20,000 mAh plus, a portable power station if budget allows. Rotate them, charge them on sunny days now, not later, and learn exactly how many phone recharges, radio cycles, and AA battery fills you can squeeze out before they go flat. Because your power doesn't just keep devices alive, it powers your information advantage. That little charge lets you hear a radio alert, check a saved map, send a MeshNet message, or use a flashlight to stop a break-in. Power is knowledge. Power is control. Finally, go lean. Use low-draw devices that extend every watt you've saved. Swap energy-thirsty lanterns for efficient LED headlamps. Prefer hand-crank radios over Bluetooth speakers. Keep your phone in airplane mode with brightness low and only power it on at scheduled intervals to save juice. Create a rotation schedule. 1 battery charging, 1 in use, 1 resting. A tiny notebook tracking usage times might sound silly until it keeps your last comms device alive 3 extra days while everyone else's batteries are stone cold. The internet may die, but that doesn't mean your devices have to. Number 5, offline banking. During a normal week, you probably swipe, tap, or Venmo your way through life without thinking twice. Plastic cards and sleek apps have turned money into an invisible concept, numbers floating over fiber optic cables. But when the internet dies, so does that magic. Suddenly, the debit card in your wallet becomes dead plastic. ATMs blink out across town, bank doors are locked, customer service lines ring to nowhere. The money you thought you had is trapped behind a server you'll never get access to again. This is the moment most people realize far too late that they don't actually possess their wealth. It's leased from a system that just collapsed. That's where offline banking comes in, prepping your finances for a world where connectivity simply isn't part of the equation. Start with cash, specifically small bills. Forget hundreds, no one will break them, and you'll end up overpaying. Stock $1, $5s, $10, and $20s. Keep them hidden in multiple secure stashes, a home safe, a decoy wallet, a buried cache if you must. When the POS machines are down in every store, you'll still be able to make purchases or bribe your way through checkpoints while others argue helplessly about why their chip card won't read. Next step, hard assets like silver coins, pre-1965 quarters, or even 1-ounce bullion rounds. These hold value even when currency hyperinflates or becomes worthless paper. Silver is ideal because it's practical for barter. Gold works too, but in large denominations, it's harder to use without risking being robbed. Then move into barter packs, small, highly desirable items that become makeshift currency in a crisis. Think sealed bottles of liquor, tobacco pouches, coffee, sealed medications, batteries, feminine hygiene products, butane lighters, even sugar packets. These goods carry emotional and practical value, which makes them powerful leverage. Finally, cultivate a barter mindset. Offline transactions are immediate and human, meaning trust, reputation, and reciprocity matter more than your net worth. Practice trading services, making small deals at farmers markets, flea markets, or yard sales before collapse hits. Not for fun, for calibration. Because when the internet goes dark, the people who continue to earn are not those with the biggest online banking balance. They're the ones who can trade, persuade, and operate without a digital middleman. Number 6, information hunting in a world without feeds. When the internet dies, you lose more than memes, you lose the oxygen of modern intelligence. No news updates, no weather alerts, no emergency push notifications telling you what to avoid, where to flee, or how bad the damage truly is. That's when panic sets in. Not because the situation got worse, but because no one knows what's happening. In that vacuum of information, rumors become weapons. That's why real survivors develop information hunting skills, building systems that let them gather data even when the online world goes silent. Start with brute force simplicity, a hand crank emergency radio. These aren't toys, they're your lifeline to no alerts, AM broadcasts, and short emergency bulletins still being pushed out by government agencies. Even if major networks vanish, a small radio station 50 miles away might still be operating, and that information could determine whether you stay, evacuate, or hide. Don't rely on batteries only. Manual crank power keeps you running long after your AA supply has been looted or exhausted. Upgrade that with a shortwave scanner. Now you're not just listening locally, you're eavesdropping on military chatter, foreign news, and emergency traffic from hundreds of miles away. In a real breakdown, knowing which direction the chaos is spreading could literally save your life. But remember, this isn't passive. You should be logging what you hear. Trend spotting, comparing dates, claims, flight paths, weather patterns. Over time, you build your own intel. Then bring it all home with a low-tech, local intel network. Start awkwardly if you must. Write short updates and drop them in a neighbor's mailbox. Use chalk marks to signal if a house is safe or needs help. Agree on dog walker routes that double as patrol loops. When you catch new information, share it strategically, not emotionally. The mistake most people make is talking too much to the wrong ears. Control the flow of info like currency, because when chaos mixes, knowledge isn't just power, it's protection. Ultimately, when feeds die, algorithmic spoon-feeding stops. You must become your own news anchor, intelligence officer, and rumor filter. Train now before the silence hits, because in the world without Wi-Fi, the people who know still survive. Everyone else is just guessing. Number 7, how to keep earning when the grid ghosts you. Most people think prepping is just about food, guns, water, and shelter. But ask yourself a brutal question. If the internet vanished tomorrow and your employer could no longer send you a paycheck, how long before your lifestyle collapses? Most households are addicted not just to online entertainment, but to online income. Digital dependence has made workers as fragile as servers, which is why prepping your livelihood is just as important as prepping your pantry. First, identify your income choke points. If your job requires email, cloud access, Zoom meetings, remote drives, strip away each layer and ask, if that vanished, could I still provide value someone will pay me for? If the answer is no, then your job isn't secure in a digital collapse. You need an offline skill set people physically want. Carpentry, mechanical repair, healthcare services, sewing, candle making, cooking, water purification, gardening, security, animal husbandry. Skills that existed before Wi-Fi and will exist long after it's gone. Second, practice local market trading before you're forced to depend on it. Sell vegetables to neighbors, patch clothing, fix lawnmower engines, teach first aid. These aren't hobbies, they're recession-proof, internet-proof income streams. The key is being known inside your actual physical community as a provider, trader, or fixer before chaos hits. When all e-commerce freezes, your neighborhood will become your new economy. You want to be positioned as someone people respect, trust, and need, not someone begging to trade a dusty box of unused bullets for a loaf of bread. Third, keep paper records. Your phone calendar and finance trackers die without connection, so use notebooks to log transactions, debts owed to you, inventory, and logs of who you've traded with. Keep a manual ledger like it's 1902, because if you don't track, you'll get swindled in a heartbeat. Finally, keep at least one offline hustle kit ready to deploy. A tool bag of your core gear, a printed price list, business cards or flyers, yes, paper, and a clean appearance. The internet doesn't run your business anymore. Your reputation does. In a blackout economy, the new wealthy won't be the ones who had the most subscriptions or crypto accounts. It'll be the ones who kept earning when everything digital died. And if you're not ready to work without Wi-Fi, you're not ready to survive its disappearance. Number 8, Sanity Tools. When streaming dies. When the internet dies, the danger isn't just outside your windows, it's inside your head. People assume survival is only about food, water, and defense. But the longer you're stuck in one place without stimulation, the faster your mental state starts to crack. Boredom might sound harmless until you see what it does to a claustrophobic household on day 4 of no Wi-Fi, no TV, and no distractions. Tempers rise, fatigue sets in, people get reckless just so something will happen. If you aren't prepared for that psychological wear down, you'll self-destruct long before anyone breaks down your door. That's why every serious prepper builds a mental resilience kit, a cache of low-tech boredom killers that keep the brain engaged and the spirit steady. Start with books, survival manuals, fiction, biographies, anything to transport your mind. Rotate them so they stay fresh. Add cards and board games, not just for children, but for adults whose minds need a mission, a challenge, a sense of progress. In survival studies, group morale was always highest in camps with simple games, not extra gear. Next, incorporate handwriting tools, journals, pencils, sketch pads. These give you a way to log days, process thoughts, and plan. A written record becomes both therapy and tactical archive. Encourage each person in your group to write daily. What they learned, what they saw, what needs restocking. Over time, these pages become intel and emotional ballast. Then build skill loops, practice routines that keep hands and minds busy. knot tying practice, knife sharpening, language flashcards, seed germination on a windowsill, lock-picking kits, or Morse code drills. You aren't just killing time, you're reinforcing survival muscle memory. Every productive minute is a blow against despair. Finally, anchor everything to a daily structure. Morning checklist, midday task, evening game. Without structure, chaos creeps in. It doesn't matter if you're stuck in a third-floor apartment or a rural safe house, boredom is the enemy that erodes discipline like water wearing down stone. Build your kit now. Hide it away like a secret weapon. Number 9, household intel clusters. When the internet collapses, your neighborhood becomes your new world and your neighbors become your newsfeed, whether you trust them or not. Survival data, like who has water, who's leaving, who saw armed strangers, or which road is barricaded, spreads not through apps, but through hushed voices and watchful eyes. That's why smart households form intel clusters, micro networks that replace Twitter and Google with something far more powerful: human observation. Start by identifying at least 2 to 5 households nearby that you can work with. Not necessarily best friends, but practical, level-headed people. Before crisis hits, develop a simple understanding. Share threats, trade intel, protect the perimeter. Create a physical space, a taped-off whiteboard near a fence, a corkboard in the hallway, or laminated sheets taped inside a storm door window where silent updates are posted. Now you've got an offline news feed that updates whenever someone walks by without shouting or knocking. Street patrols or lookout shifts can be formed quietly. One person walks a dog at sunrise and sunset, reporting what changed. Another watches from a second-floor window at midday. Everyone contributes, so no one burns out. Intel isn't gossip, it's data. Write it down. If a car without plates cruised by 3 times, that's a pattern. If a nearby house now has broken windows, that's a signal. The more data you collect, the faster you see real-time developments in your own backyard, and you can pull your family out of danger zones before others even recognize them. Communication must be discreet. Use walkie-talkies on low volume. Use prearranged flashlight blinks or reflective mirror signals by day. Never let outsiders know the depth of your network. That just makes you a bigger target. Seen from afar, your house should look unaware, while behind the curtains, you are decoding neighborhood movement with the precision of a military base. In a Wi-Fi-free world, humans become your bandwidth. Stop thinking like an individual. Start operating like a node. Trade information like currency. And remember, the safest house isn't the one with the biggest fence. It's the one that knows what's happening 3 houses down before anyone else reacts. Number 10, rehearse the crash. Everyone thinks they'll handle an internet outage just fine until it actually happens. Then the panic sets in because you didn't realize your recipes are all on Pinterest. Your passwords are all in the cloud. Your emergency contact's phone number? Never memorized. Your maps? Only in your Google history. That's why the final and most important tactic isn't gear at all. It's rehearsal. You simulate the collapse before you're forced into it. That means intentionally going dark for 48 hours. No Wi-Fi, no data, turn off the router, kill phone service, no cheating, live entirely off your offline systems. Watch what happens next. What breaks first? Do you know how to make breakfast without looking up a recipe? Can you navigate to a nearby town with only a printed map? Can you get even a whisper of news without scrolling? Do you already have the offline contacts, the mesh apps installed, the hand crank radio where you thought it was? Does your generator work? When do you run out of flashlight batteries? What psychological toll does the silence take? Most will discover horrifying gaps, and that's perfect. This is when you fix them, before it's real. Actually schedule these tests once every quarter. Make it a family drill or a solo gauntlet. Rotate your power banks, refill your cache stock, update your neighborhood map, test your barter items, reset the clock to 0, and see how long you can remain confident without reaching for your phone. Only by living the rehearsal can your body and brain absorb the rhythms of true off-grid life. Because the best prepared people aren't shocked when the outage comes, they've already survived it in practice. They don't panic when the Wi-Fi dies, they move with purpose. In a crisis, everyone wishes they had more time, more data, more warning. But the real secret is simple. Pretend it's already happened, long before the lights actually go out. That's how you stay 3 steps ahead while everyone else is still waiting for the internet to come back. So there we have it. When the screen goes dark, most people freeze. You won't because you've seen this coming and you've trained your mind and your systems to survive it. The internet won't be there to save you, but if you move now, you won't need it. Drop a comment. What's your number one move if the Wi-Fi died tonight, and would you actually be ready? Hit subscribe. The next episode breaks down the first 6 hours of total digital collapse, and you won't want to miss that countdown.